In the climate-controlled vaults of Yale University's Benecke Rare Book Library, behind glass and security, sits what many consider the world's most mysterious book. 240 vellum pages, hundreds of illustrations, 35,000 words, and not a single sentence anyone can understand. This is the Voynich Manuscript. For over 600 years it has guarded its secrets. Emperors have owned it. Scholars have obsessed over it. Code breakers have failed against it. The question that haunts everyone who encounters it is deceptively simple. Is this brilliant encryption, a lost language, or the most elaborate hoax in literary history?
The manuscript's modern story begins in 1912. Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish revolutionary turned rare book dealer, is examining a collection being quietly sold by the Jesuit order in the Villa Mondragone near Rome. Among theological texts and medieval prayer books, he finds something extraordinary, a codex unlike anything he has ever seen. The script is fluid, consistent, seemingly alphabetic, but it matches no known language. The illustrations are even stranger. Plants that don't exist, astronomical charts that don't match the heavens, naked women bathing in green pools connected by elaborate plumbing. Voynich knows immediately he has found something unprecedented. He purchases it, and the manuscript enters the modern world bearing his name.
But the manuscript's history stretches back centuries before Voynich's discovery. A letter found with the book, written in 1666 by Johannes Marcus Marci, a rector of Prague University, traces its ownership to Emperor Rudolf II of the Holy Roman Empire. Rudolf, who ruled from 1576 to 1612, was obsessed with alchemy, astrology, and the occult. His court in Prague became a magnet for scholars, mystics, and charlatans. According to Marci's letter, Rudolf paid 600 gold ducats for the manuscript, an astronomical sum equivalent to several years' salary for a skilled craftsman. He believed it was the work of Roger Bacon, the 13th century English philosopher and proto-scientist. But was it? Modern science has provided at least one definitive answer. In 2011, researchers at the University of Arizona conducted radiocarbon dating on the manuscript's vellum. The results were conclusive. The animal skin used to create the pages dates to between 1404 and 1438. This places the manuscript's creation in the early 15th century, more than a century after Roger Bacon's death in 1292. The Bacon attribution is impossible, but this scientific certainty only deepens the mystery. Who, in the early 1400s, created this elaborate work, and why? The text itself presents a maddening paradox. The script, now called Voynichese, appears to follow consistent rules. It flows left to right. It forms distinct word-like units separated by spaces. Statistical analysis reveals patterns. Certain characters appear only at the beginning of words, others only at the end. The frequency distribution of symbols follows Zipf's law, a pattern found in natural languages. Yet every attempt at translation has failed. Cryptographers who broke enemy codes during World War II tried and failed. Computer algorithms have found no matches to any known language, living or dead. The text seems to have structure without meaning, grammar without vocabulary. It is language-like, but perhaps not language.
The illustrations offer tantalizing clues, but no clear answers. The manuscript appears to be divided into sections. The botanical section shows over 100 plants, drawn with careful attention to roots, leaves, and flowers. But botanists cannot identify them. Some resemble known species, but with impossible features, wrong numbers of petals, roots that couldn't support the plant, combinations of characteristics from different families. The astronomical section contains circular diagrams with zodiac symbols and what appear to be stars. But the constellations don't match medieval European astronomy. The biological section, as scholars call it, shows dozens of small female figures bathing in green and blue liquids, connected by an intricate network of tubes. No comparable imagery exists in medieval manuscripts. Every section raises more questions than it answers.
Theories have proliferated for over a century. Some scholars argue it's an herbal or medical text written in a constructed language or cipher to protect valuable knowledge. In the medieval period, medical and alchemical secrets were often encoded to prevent theft or persecution. Others suggest it might be a work in an extinct or extremely obscure language, perhaps from Central Asia or the Mediterranean. The hoax theory has persistent advocates. Could someone in the 15th century have created an elaborate fake to sell to a wealthy collector? The problem is motive and method. Creating 240 pages of consistent, rule-following nonsense would require extraordinary discipline and offer uncertain reward. And if it's a hoax, it's one that has fooled linguistic analysis for 600 years. Recent research has opened a new possibility. A 2023 study published in the peer-reviewed journal Cryptologia demonstrates that a medieval cipher system called the Naibe cipher could produce text with properties remarkably similar to Voynichese. The researchers applied this cipher, which was within the technological capabilities of 15th century cryptographers, to various sample texts. The output matched key features of the manuscript: symbol frequency, word length distribution, and certain positional patterns that have puzzled analysts for decades. The study doesn't claim to have decoded the manuscript, but it proves something crucial. The Voynich Manuscript could have been created using methods available in the 1400s. It doesn't have to be a modern forgery or an impossible anomaly. It could be exactly what it appears to be: a medieval encrypted text. The manuscript's journey through history is almost as mysterious as its contents. After Rudolf's death, it passed through several hands in Prague. By 1666, it belonged to Marci, who sent it to the renowned Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher in Rome, hoping he could decipher it. Kircher, who had claimed to translate Egyptian hieroglyphs decades before the Rosetta Stone, apparently couldn't crack the Voynich code. The manuscript then disappeared into the Jesuit archives for over 2 centuries. It survived wars, the dissolution of religious orders, and the chaos of European history. When the Jesuits needed to sell assets in 1903, it emerged from obscurity, waiting for Voynich to find it 9 years later. Imagine the moment of creation. Somewhere in Europe, in the early 1500s, someone sits at a desk. Vellum pages, expensive and precious, lie ready. Ink and quill are prepared. And then, for months, perhaps years, this person fills page after page with a script no one else can read. They draw plants that don't grow in any garden. They chart stars that don't shine in any sky. They illustrate scenes that appear in no other medieval book. Were they encoding genuine knowledge, protecting secrets from the Inquisition or rival scholars? Were they creating a constructed language for a private purpose we can't imagine? Or were they perpetrating an audacious fraud, betting that mystery would prove more valuable than meaning? We stand 6 centuries away from that moment, with all our technology and analysis, and we still cannot answer the most basic question: what were they trying to say?
The Voynich Manuscript has defeated some of the greatest minds in cryptography. William Friedman, who led the team that broke Japan's purple cipher in World War II, spent decades on it without success. The National Security Agency has examined it. Computer scientists have applied artificial intelligence and machine learning. In 2020, a University of Bristol researcher claimed to have identified the language as a form of proto-Romance, but the academic community largely rejected the methodology. Every few years, someone announces a breakthrough. None have withstood scrutiny. The manuscript remains unread, its secrets intact, its purpose unknown. Today, the manuscript resides at Yale, catalogued as MS 4/8. It has been fully digitized, available for anyone in the world to examine. Thousands of amateur and professional cryptographers have tried their hand at decoding it. Online communities share theories, test hypotheses, and debate interpretations. In 2016, Yale University Press published the first authorized facsimile, complete with the manuscript's elaborate folding sections. The book that no one can read has become one of the most studied documents in the world, yet it yields nothing. Every analysis reveals new patterns, new possibilities, but no definitive answers. The Voynich Manuscript endures because it represents something fundamental about human curiosity and the limits of knowledge. We have split the atom, mapped the human genome, and photographed black holes. Yet we cannot read a book made from animal skin and plant-based ink. Perhaps it will never be decoded. Perhaps the key was lost centuries ago or never existed. Perhaps the manuscript's true purpose is not to communicate, but to mystify. What we know for certain is this: someone 600 years ago created something that still has the power to fascinate, frustrate, and inspire. In an age where information seems infinitely accessible, the Voynich Manuscript reminds us that some mysteries resist even our most sophisticated tools. It sits in its vault, silent and inscrutable, waiting. The question is not whether it will be solved. The question is whether we're asking the right questions at all.